Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for joining me today. I'm truly happy to have you here, and I want you to know that your decision to spend time learning English with me is a wonderful step toward reaching your language goals. My name is Mike, and I am here to guide and support you on your English learning journey. Whether you are just beginning to learn English or have been studying for some time, this podcast is made especially for you, to help you speak more confidently and understand English better. Today, we will talk about a very important topic that many English learners find helpful but sometimes overlook: learning how to think in English. You might wonder why this is such a big deal. The truth is, thinking in English is a key skill that can make a huge difference in how fast and clearly you can speak, as well as how well you can listen and understand English conversations. Many learners spend a lot of time trying to translate words and sentences from their own language into English, and this takes extra time and effort. When you do this, it slows down your speaking and makes it harder to follow conversations when you listen because your brain is working on two languages at once. But when you train your brain to think directly in English, you will notice that speaking becomes quicker and more natural. Your listening skills will improve because you will understand English without needing to translate every word. In this episode, I will explain exactly why thinking in English is so important for improving your speaking and listening skills. Then, I will share simple and practical tips you can start using right away to train your brain to think in English every day. These tips are easy to follow and designed for learners at all levels. I will also talk about some common challenges you may face when trying to think in English and how to overcome them with patience and practice. By the end of this episode, you will have a clear understanding of how to start changing the way you learn English, making your speaking more fluent and your listening more effective. So, get comfortable and get ready to discover a powerful way to improve your English: thinking in English. Why thinking in English matters. Many English learners face the same problem when they try to speak or understand English. They often translate everything from their native language into English in their minds. This means that when they want to say something, they first think the sentence in their own language, then try to change it word by word into English. While this might seem like a helpful way at first, it actually slows down the whole process of speaking and listening. Imagine if every time you wanted to say a simple sentence, your brain had to do extra work to change the words from one language to another. It takes time, and this can make you feel nervous or stuck when speaking because you are thinking about two languages at once instead of just one. This extra step also makes it harder to understand English quickly when you listen to people speaking because your brain is busy translating, not just listening. Now, thinking directly in English can solve this problem and make your learning much faster. When you train your brain to think in English, you don't need to stop and translate every word or sentence. Your mind becomes more comfortable using English naturally. This means you can speak faster and more fluently because you are not stopping to change the words in your head. You also become better at listening because you understand English as it comes without the extra step of translation. This is how native speakers use their language. They think and speak in the same language without stopping to translate. Let me give you a simple example. Imagine you want to say, "I am going to the store." If you translate from your own language, you might first think the sentence in your language and then translate each word into English. This takes time. But if you train yourself to think directly in English, when you want to say this, the sentence will appear in your mind in English naturally. You think, "I am going to the store," and say it right away. No extra steps, no pauses. Another example is when you are listening to someone speaking English. If you are translating every word back to your own language, you might miss some words because your brain is working too hard. But if you practice thinking in English, your brain can understand the meaning directly. For instance, if someone says, "It's raining today, so take an umbrella," instead of translating word by word, you simply understand the meaning and respond naturally. Thinking in English also helps you learn new words and phrases more effectively. When you think in English, you connect words with their meaning directly, instead of always connecting English words with words from your own language. This helps you remember vocabulary better and use it correctly when you speak or write. To sum up, the main problem for many learners is that translating from their native language to English slows down their speaking and listening. But when you start to think in English, your brain works faster and more naturally. You speak more smoothly, and you understand English better. This is why learning to think in English is so important for anyone who wants to improve their English speaking and listening skills. It takes practice and patience, but it is a powerful step that will make a big difference in your English learning journey. How to start thinking in English. Starting to think in English might feel difficult at first, but the good news is that you can begin right now with simple and easy steps. The key is to practice every day and make small changes in the way you use your mind. You don't need to speak out loud all the time. Even thinking quietly in English will help your brain get used to the language. Let me share some practical tips that you can start using immediately to train your brain to think in English. First, start with small things around you. Look at the objects near you, such as your phone, your cup, your chair, or the window, and name them in English. For example, say in your mind, "This is a phone," or "That is a window." You can do this anytime, when you are at home, at work, or even outside. This simple habit helps you connect English words with real things and begins the process of thinking in English naturally. Don't worry if you only do this for a few minutes each day. The important part is to be consistent and keep practicing. Next, try to describe your day in English in your mind. When you wake up, you can think, "I am brushing my teeth," or "I am having breakfast." When you go to school or work, think about what you are doing or what you see. For example, "I am walking to the bus stop," or "The weather is sunny today." This practice helps you create simple English sentences and use the language actively inside your mind. Even if you only do this in short moments, it trains your brain to use English more naturally. Another tip is to practice thinking in English when you are alone or doing simple tasks. When you are cooking, cleaning, or exercising, try to use English in your thoughts. For example, "I am cooking rice," or "I am cleaning the floor." These daily activities give you many chances to practice English without feeling pressure or stress. When your mind is busy with easy tasks, it is a great time to practice English silently. You don't have to speak out loud, but just thinking in English is very helpful. Also, try to use English in your thoughts during common situations you face every day. For example, when you meet someone or go shopping, think about what you want to say or what is happening in English. If you are at a store, you might think, "I need to buy bread," or "How much is this?" This way, you prepare your brain to use English in real-life situations. When the moment comes to speak, your brain is already ready with English ideas, and you will find it easier to talk. Remember, learning to think in English is a process, and it takes time and patience. You might feel frustrated or find it difficult at first, but that is completely normal. Don't give up or be too hard on yourself. Every small effort you make helps your brain get stronger at using English. Practice a little every day, and soon you will notice that thinking in English becomes easier and more natural. In conclusion, start with small steps by naming objects around you, describing your day in English, practicing English thoughts during simple tasks, and using English in daily situations. Be patient and kind to yourself, and keep practicing. Thinking in English is a skill you can develop, and with time, it will help you speak more fluently and understand English better. So, take these tips and begin today. Your English journey will be much more exciting and effective. Common challenges and how to overcome them. When you start trying to think in English, it is very normal to face some challenges. Many learners feel that thinking in English is strange or difficult at first. You might notice that your mind often goes back to your native language without you even realizing it. Sometimes you may find yourself making mistakes or not knowing the right words to use. These experiences are completely normal, and every English learner goes through them. It is important to understand that these challenges do not mean you are not good at learning English. Instead, they show that your brain is working hard to learn a new skill. And with time and practice, these difficulties will become easier to manage. One common challenge is that thinking in English may feel unnatural or uncomfortable. Your brain is used to your native language, so it takes time to adjust to a new way of thinking. You might try to think in English, but then suddenly find yourself back in your own language. This happens because your brain is still learning to switch between languages. When this happens, try not to get frustrated or discouraged. Remember that it is a normal part of learning, and with regular practice, your brain will get better at thinking in English. The key is to be patient with yourself and keep practicing every day, even if it feels difficult at first. Another challenge is worrying about making mistakes. Many learners feel afraid to think or speak in English because they are afraid of being wrong or sounding bad. But making mistakes is a natural part of learning any language. When you think in English, you are training your brain, and it is okay if your thoughts are not perfect at first. Instead of focusing on mistakes, try to focus on progress. Celebrate every small step you take toward thinking in English. Over time, your mistakes will decrease, and your confidence will grow. Don't let the fear of mistakes stop you from practicing. The more you practice, the better you will become. Sometimes you might feel stuck because you don't know simple words or phrases in English. When this happens, try to use simple English instead of waiting to find the perfect word. For example, if you want to say, "I am very tired," but you don't remember the word tired, you can say, "I am very sleepy," or "I want to rest." Using simple words is better than stopping your thoughts or switching back to your native language. This way, you keep your brain active in English and keep practicing your thinking skills. As you learn more vocabulary, you will have more words to choose from, but starting with simple language is always okay. One more important tip is to keep a positive mindset. Learning to think in English takes time and effort, but it is a powerful skill that will help you improve your speaking and listening. Try to enjoy the process and see every challenge as a chance to learn and grow. Remember that every learner faces difficulties, but the difference between success and failure is often just not giving up. Set small goals, practice regularly, and reward yourself for your efforts. In summary, it is normal to face challenges when you start thinking in English. Your mind may go back to your native language. You may make mistakes or feel stuck with words. The best way to overcome these challenges is to be patient. Use simple English. Don't worry about mistakes. And keep practicing every day. With a positive mindset and regular practice, you will see your thinking in English improve little by little. Keep believing in yourself, and remember that every effort you make brings you closer to your goal of speaking English fluently and confidently. Saki. Benefits of thinking in English. Thinking in English brings many important benefits that can help you improve your English skills faster and more naturally. One of the biggest benefits is that your speaking becomes more fluent. When you think in English, you don't have to stop and translate words from your native language. This means your speech flows smoothly and you can express your ideas clearly and quickly. Instead of pausing to find the right word or translating a sentence in your head, your brain already has the English words ready to use. This helps you speak like a native speaker or someone who is very comfortable with English. Fluent speaking means you can share your thoughts easily, join conversations, and express yourself without feeling nervous or stuck. Another important benefit of thinking in English is that it builds your confidence. When you practice thinking in English regularly, you become more comfortable with the language inside your mind. This comfort helps you feel less afraid of making mistakes when you speak out loud. Confidence is very important because it gives you the courage to speak with other people, even if your English is not perfect yet. When you know that you can think in English, you feel ready to take part in conversations, ask questions, and share your ideas. This confidence helps you use English more often, which leads to more practice and faster improvement. Thinking in English also improves your listening skills. When your brain is used to thinking in English, it becomes easier to understand what others say. Instead of trying to translate every word back into your native language, you understand the meaning directly. This helps you follow conversations, movies, songs, and podcasts more easily. You can enjoy listening to English without feeling lost or confused. Improved listening skills also mean you can respond more quickly and naturally during conversations. You won't need to pause and think too much because your brain understands English as it happens. All these benefits, fluency, confidence, and better listening, work together to help you in real-life conversations. For example, imagine you are talking with an English-speaking friend or colleague. When you think in English, you don't have to stop to translate or search for words. You can listen carefully to what they say, understand their meaning, and respond naturally. This makes conversations smoother and more enjoyable. It also helps you build better relationships with English speakers because you can communicate clearly and confidently. To sum up, thinking in English helps your speaking become faster and more natural. It gives you confidence to speak in real situations and improves your ability to understand what others say. These benefits make learning English easier and more fun. So, if you want to speak English fluently, listen better, and feel confident in conversations, start training your brain to think in English every day. It is a powerful habit that will bring you closer to your English learning goals. Summary and final tips. Let's take a moment to review what we talked about today. We learned that thinking in English is an important skill that helps you speak more fluently, understand English better, and feel more confident when you communicate. We saw that many learners struggle because they translate from their native language, which slows them down. But when you start thinking directly in English, your brain works faster, and your speaking and listening become more natural. We also discussed some simple ways to begin thinking in English right now. You can start by naming objects around you, describing your day in English, and practicing English thoughts during everyday tasks. Using English in common situations, even silently in your mind, helps train your brain to use the language naturally. It's important to be patient with yourself and remember that making mistakes is part of learning. Don't worry about being perfect. Every small effort brings progress. You learned that facing challenges like feeling strange or switching back to your native language is normal. The key is to keep practicing regularly and maintain a positive attitude. Using simple English and focusing on progress rather than mistakes will keep you motivated. Finally, we talked about the benefits of thinking in English. It helps you speak faster, understand better, and be confident in real conversations. When your brain is comfortable thinking in English, you can enjoy learning more and connect better with others. My final tip for you is this: practice every day, even if it is just for a few minutes. Consistency is the secret to success. Your brain needs time and repetition to build new habits, so keep practicing and don't give up. Celebrate your progress no matter how small, and trust that you are improving step by step. Remember, learning to think in English is a powerful skill that will open many doors for you. It takes time, patience, and effort, but the reward is speaking English naturally and confidently. You have everything you need to start today, so keep practicing and enjoy your English journey. Thank you for listening, and I'm excited to see your progress as you train your brain to think in English. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. I truly appreciate you taking the time to join me and invest in your English learning journey. Your dedication is inspiring, and I'm happy to be part of your progress. If you found this episode helpful, please consider subscribing to the podcast so you don't miss any future episodes. Also, feel free to share this podcast with your friends or anyone who is learning English. It might help them as much as it helped you. In upcoming episodes, I'll be talking more about useful tips and strategies to improve your English speaking, listening, and thinking skills. So, stay tuned and keep practicing. Remember, every small step you take brings you closer to fluency and confidence. Until next time, keep thinking in English and enjoy your learning. Goodbye for now, and take care.